Okay, so that is our presentation. Now it's time to answer your questions. So we have some questions here, and we'll just take turns answering the questions. Can transcripts be submitted electronically? FODE, can they submit their transcripts electronically?
No, currently we only accept it in paper.
Will a BS in another field and an AS in construction management get 36 months experience total? 18 plus 18. Can they combine FODE, their experience?
No, we cannot combine. We will give you the one that gets the most.
Next question is, hi there, do you know if international degrees will be accepted? Yes, so we did talk about that. Yes, you do get credit for any education, even if it wasn't here in the United States. We talked about how you just have to submit your transcripts. They do have to be translated and evaluated by an evaluation service that does business within the United States. So as long as they can do that for you, we would be able to review your transcript. If I'm applying for a C33 and my company name is Emmanuel's Paint and Drywall Consulting, do I have to change the name? I am also planning on applying for a C9 after completing the C33. So FODE, can he have a name such as, if it's somebody who is going to get their C33, can their company name be so-and-so's Paint and Drywall Consulting?
No, not until they actually have the C9 on their license. So initially they should go with Emmanuel's Paint or Painting, and then once they add C9, then they can change the name and add drywall to the name.
As an owner builder, can the person that guarantees my experience be the city county building inspector? So with the owner builder, you're going to want to make sure you fill out that form. You're going to fill out the form and include that information on the you're going to include the information on the form. It's going to ask you for building permit number and all of the information. If the city inspector is agreeable to talking to us, you want to provide that contact information. But remember, it's two separate things. One is the owner builder form, and your work experience is separate. That you need somebody to fill out that form that says that you have at least 4 years of experience. Okay, but yes, we will talk to the city county building inspector. You guys have a workshop for painting. Select a panelist. Do you guys have a workshop for painting? No, this is the only workshop we have, but the rules are the same for no matter what classification you get. So it does apply to the painting contractors, as well as all of our classifications have to go through the same process. My husband and I want to get licensed, but I don't have experience, but I am a veteran. How will that work? We are thinking about a partnership. So FODE, husband and wife want to get a license. One is a veteran, but the other has the work experience, it sounds like.
Yeah, again, the person who has the experience has to submit the certification of work experience and be on the first page of application. If there is a partnership, yeah, you can both be on that license. And please submit the DD-214 with your application, because we will expedite for applicants and their spouse if they are within the military. So that would be fine.
Thank you. Who should be certifier in non-permit owner builder work experience? Can another licensee certify? Yes, another licensee, if you know a licensed contractor that is willing to be sign your certification, they can be your certifier. They just have to be aware and have knowledge that you have journeyman level experience, and we're looking for 4 years within the last 10 years. So it doesn't have to be a licensed contractor, but if you do have somebody who is licensed, yes, we would accept that. It can be, if you look at the bottom of the form, it mentions it can be a supervisor, a co-worker, somebody who has knowledge that you have journeyman level experience. So there's different categories on the bottom of the form that you'll want to look at. How many years of credit will you receive for bachelor's in engineering? Fo, do you want to take that one? How many years of credit?
Well, that is like, again, what we said, those are specifics we can't tell as it is, because first of all, we have to see what kind of engineering it is, what kind of classification it is. So submit those with your application, and then we'll review it.
Mhm. If a qualifier wants to sell their business to an employee, can they continue to serve as a qualifier until the employee can obtain their own license? So a qualifier can remain on the license. The purpose of the qualifier is that's the person who has the 4 years of experience. So we have seen where somebody is a qualifier of the license until somebody else can replace them as a qualifier. So once the other person can prove that they have 4 years of journeyman level experience, you can remove yourself as a qualifier. Do I have to attend classes or courses to get the license? So as I explained, there are no educational requirements. We know that there are a lot of schools out there that offer preparation courses. That is up to you, completely up to you, but it is not a requirement. And no, we are not affiliated with any of the schools. If I will be office manager but not do any estimates, do I still need the salesperson license? Does an office manager have to be an HIS code?
No, as long as they, again, if they are not on the license, they're listed on the license and they're working only in the office, just scheduling, they do not get involved with the contract itself and bidding purposes and estimates. No, they don't need HIS.
Does experience managing projects for a major tech organization count as owner builder? So owner builder would be projects that you've done on your own property, and it would have to be something that you can prove through, you have to be able to document it. It has to be proven through building permits, plans, things of that nature. So that would be the owner builder. Other than that, if you wanted to see if it counts as work experience, you would need to put it on your work experience certification form and make sure that the person who is certifying is as detailed as possible as what exactly did you do. I need to, so it looks like this person wants to apply for a painting and a carpenter license separately. I'm not sure which one you mean, carpenter license. I don't know if you mean the B or the B2 license maybe. Yes, you'll have to apply separately. So as we discussed, you'll have to choose one classification first when you apply for your license, and then you can always add as many classifications as you would like, as long as you can prove the 4 years of experience within the last 10 years. But yes, you start with one. Can the apprenticeship and work experience overlap? For instance, I was an apprentice for 4 years and accrued work hours and experience at the same time. Can that time overlap, Fode? Can the apprenticeship and the work experience time overlap?
Well, usually that work that you put in is to get your apprenticeship. So we count that part as when we give you credit for apprenticeship. So no, in most cases, we don't grant credit for the time you're gaining your apprenticeship. That's our part of the apprenticeship program.
Is there any way for an applicant to know whether their listed experience is sufficient? Not beforehand. You have to submit your application, and then your application will be assigned to a technician, and that person will be in contact with you. They'll work with you. They'll let you know if it's sufficient. They'll let you know if they need more information, additional documentation. So once it hits their desk, they will be in contact with you, letting you know what they need from you. Can I qualify if my contractor paid me cash? So yes, we talked about, we understand that a lot of experience is cash pay. We understand that. So we talked about the different, in case you are asked to supply additional documentation, we do have some documents that you can look at, you can review to see what is acceptable documentation for somebody who was self-employed. And there's a long list of other documents that you can provide. Remember, we're looking for 4 years within the last 10 years. If you have copies of old contracts, perhaps, things of that nature, we'll take a look at that. I understand that specific jobs completed provide experience equivalent to the amount of hours it takes licensees. But what if I don't know how long jobs would take? Should I list the amount of hours in the application? No, what we're looking for is 48 months of experience within the last 10 years. So you would need to find somebody who can certify that they know that you have 48 months of experience within the last 10 years for the classification that you are applying for. And you want to make sure that they are very specific on what duties you performed. And remember, we're looking for journeyman level experience. Hi, I am looking forward to opening a flooring business. I would also like to be able to offer installation service. How do I go about having a license under the business? Vote, how can they get a, it looks like she's going to open a flooring business and wants to offer installation, but she wants to have a license for the installation. So
Yes, they have to submit application for original contractor license under the business name. Now the person again has to have a qualification, 4 years of experience in last 10 years in flooring, and we'll move forward. You know, depending on what the entity of the business will be, you know, and who can be under license or not. But they need to submit their application for original contractor license for C15 classification.
okay. It says, am I able to apply as an owner builder if the permit numbers for the property are under my father's name, but I have been the project manager for the project? So it looks like the son has been working on the dad's home and they have permits pulled in the dad's name. Would he be able to use that experience vote under the owner builder if he's applying for a B license?
Well, he wouldn't be the owner builder because that's the father. So the question becomes, was he getting paid? You know, how that whole process was. He can apply for it. We may have to do some verification on it. But yeah, that would be acceptable. Not as an owner builder, but as a self-employed.
Mm-hmm. To demonstrate my work experience, can I present letters from people with whom I've worked? So yes, that is one of the acceptable forms of documentation that's listed on the form that we provided. However, you don't need to send that in with your application. That is only something that you need to provide if a CSLB employee asks for additional documentation to verify your work experience. Initially, all you have to submit is your application and the certification of work experience. That's the first step. If we need something more, then we'll ask you to get those letters, and yes, they would be helpful. What would the process be if we start our application and the education credit is not enough to satisfy the 24 or the 36-month credit if we are relying on that to supplement the experience? So remember, we did talk about you don't want to rely on that just to squeeze by. You want to make sure that you have enough both education credit and also hands-on experience. So we can combine the two in order to get the 48. But you won't know if you're getting 24 months credit or 36 months credit until we actually see your transcripts, have them in front of us, and then we would be able to tell you that. We can't tell you that ahead of time. So you want to make sure that you have enough of both to equal the 48 months. In a partnership, do both of us have to take the exam or just the qualifier? So it's always just the qualifier who takes the examination. The qualifier is a person with the experience, and that is a person who takes the exams. I've seen many study guide products available, but it sounds like the link provided in this talk includes all information needed for preparation. Are they available for persons that have not yet submitted an application? So do you want to take that about the study guides? Do they have to go to a different school?
Yeah, they're on our website. For all the classifications, there is a study guide on our website. We provided a link to our workshop, so you can go in there and check all depending on the classification that you're going to apply for.
And so we know, we're aware that there's other schools, but it's not a requirement. Some people find them helpful, but it's not a requirement. No, you do not need to attend. Does the study guide that the CSLB sends out after your application is accepted contain all the information needed to pass the law and trade you are applying for? So we talked about what information is contained in the study guide. Mainly the important part, the most important part, is the resources. It gives you a list of books and websites that you can start to research now that will help you prepare for the examination. It gives you a list of study topics that you can begin preparing, and it gives you about 2 or 3 sample questions, so you have an idea of how the questions are worded. My partner has 10+ years of carpentry working for several stakeholders, but not totaling more than 4 years for any one stakeholder. How should he show documentation? So he does have 10 years of experience, but it wasn't with one person. How can he prove that, folks?
Well, you can submit multiple certification of work experience from each one of the employers. So if you work, for example, 2 years for so-and-so employer, can submit one for that one, and then another 1 year for another employer. So it can be 3 or 4 certification of work experience, and it can cover part of that 4 years in each one of those, as long as they total to 4 years and more.
Next question. For the exam, is there a book to study? So yes, and you're going to want to go ahead and look, like we mentioned, our study guides are available on our website. You can go to our website, cslb.ca.gov, and in the search engine type study guides, and then choose a classification. Remember, you're going to have to take a business and law exam, and then you will look for the one that, for the trade, specific to the trade that you are applying. And yes, there's a list of resources on each of the study guides. There's books, there's websites that you can begin to go through now to prepare for the exam. If a woman with no experience owns 51% of the partnership, can they apply for DBE jobs? Fo, do you want to take that one? If a woman with no experience owns 51% of the partnership, can they apply for DBE jobs?
As far as I know, the businesses, the licenses with when a woman is a majority owner, they can submit those, yes. That's far as we have seen. We don't regulate those, but that's as far as experience shown, as long as they are 50% and higher ownership, yes, they can.
Can someone with a General B license be my certifier for work experience? Yes, they can. It doesn't have to be a licensed contractor, but if there is a B licensee out there that has knowledge that you have 4 years of experience within the last 10 years at journeyman level, yes, they can be your certifier. A person with no experience can get a contractor license and create a company just using employee experience. So the way it would work is there can be many people on a license. The qualifier has to prove 4 years of experience within the last 10 years. So, some corporations have many different people on the license. The qualifier has to have the experience. That's the person that will be taking the exams. That's the person who will be supervising the projects. 3.5 hours to complete the test. How many questions are we talking about roughly? So each exam is different. There are anywhere between 100 to 120 questions on the exam. So the business and law, you take that one first, and then you'll come back and take the trade. You can have a break in between and come back and take the trade exam. If you don't use the 3.5 hours, let's say you finish in 2, you can go ahead and move on to the next exam. You don't have to wait until 3.5 hours are up. Okay, everybody's different. Okay, it looks like that was the last of our questions. Thank you all for your questions. If you have any other questions about your application, we encourage you to drop an email to our licensing division. Here is the email address. licensing@cslb.ca.gov. Again, licensing@cslb.ca.gov. If at some point you need to reschedule your exam, you can get that process started by dropping an email to exams@cslb.ca.gov. We've also put together a list of available resources for women considering a career in construction. If you haven't already, be sure to download this presentation to get them. You can download the presentation on the green banner at the top of our homepage, www.cslb.ca.gov. If you're watching the archived video of this workshop on our YouTube page, you'll find the link to the presentation down below.
We welcome your comments or topics for future webcasts. Just drop us an email on social@cslb.ca.gov. A special thanks to our Licensing Division and Public Affairs Office for their help on this workshop. The Get Licensed to Build workshop is a copyrighted production of the California Contractor and State Licensing Board. Thanks for watching.